The air in the village of Umu-Eze always hummed with the scent of wood smoke and damp earth after a rain, a smell that clung to your clothes and seeped into your very being. Sunlight, thick and golden, filtered through the towering iroko trees that guarded the village perimeter, dappling the red earth paths where children chased chickens and women pounded cassava. Here, nestled deep within the fertile lands of Igbo land, lived Adanna, a maiden whose beauty was like the morning dew on a spiderweb, delicate, shimmering, and fleeting. For Adanna carried a burden, a shadow that stretched back generations, the curse of the barren womb. It was whispered that a jealous river spirit, spurned by an ancestor long ago, had decreed that no first daughter in Adanna's lineage would ever bear children. Her grandmother, her mother, her aunts, all had withered like dry gourds, their homes echoing with the silence of absent laughter. Adanna, the firstborn of her generation, felt the weight of this prophecy like a heavy shroud. Her heart yearned for the plump, gurgling joys of motherhood, a yearning that warred with the dread of her inherited fate. Adanna was not like the other maidens, who giggled over suitors and dreamed of grand weddings. While they braided their hair with cowrie shells and danced to the rhythm of the ogene, Adanna often sought solace in the quiet embrace of the ancient Odum tree, which stood sentinel at the edge of the sacred grove. Its roots, gnarled and thick as a python, burrowed deep into the earth, and its canopy reached for the heavens, a cathedral of rustling leaves. She would tell it her sorrows, her fears, her desperate hopes, believing it a silent, ancient listener. One sweltering afternoon, after a particularly disheartening visit from a prospective suitor, who, upon learning of her family's plight, had quickly made his excuses, Adanna wept beneath the Odum tree. "O great Odum," she sobbed, tears mingling with the dust on her cheeks, "must I be the next to carry this barrenness? Is there no escape?" Suddenly, a voice, deep and resonant as a drum, seemed to ripple through the very air around her. It was not a voice she heard with her ears, but with her spirit. "Adanna, child of the fertile earth, your tears water my roots. The curse can be broken, but the path is not of men." Adanna gasped, looking around wildly. "Who speaks?" The voice echoed, seeming to come from the tree itself. "I am the spirit of the Odum, keeper of ancient wisdom. To break your curse, you must wed one who transcends the world of man. You must marry me." Adanna's breath hitched. Marry a tree? The idea was preposterous, yet a strange sense of calm settled over her. This was not the madness of a desperate heart, but the profound truth of a spirit-born utterance. "But how?" she whispered. "You will prepare as a bride. Bring offerings to my roots, and on the night of the full moon, beneath my branches, you will pledge your life not to a man, but to the earth and the spirits that dwell within." Fear mingled with a nascent hope in Adanna's heart. When she returned to her family's compound, her mother, Neka, noticed the change in her daughter's eyes, a blend of determination and a strange, unearthly glow. Adanna recounted the encounter, and Neka, a woman steeped in the old ways, listened with a mixture of trepidation and awe. "The spirits work in mysterious ways, my daughter," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "If the Odum has spoken, then it must be so." Word spread through Umu-Eze like wildfire. "Adanna is to marry the Odum tree," some scoffed.
"She has gone mad with sorrow," others whispered, shaking their heads. Yet a few elders, particularly the Dibia, nodded sagely. "The spirits know what they do," the Dibia pronounced. "Perhaps this is the path to renewal." On the night of the full moon, the village gathered, their faces illuminated by the flickering light of palm oil lamps. Adanna, adorned in her finest wrapper woven with indigo patterns, her hair intricately braided with beads, looked every inch a bride. But instead of walking towards a man, she walked towards the ancient Odum tree. Offerings of kola nuts, palm wine, and a white chicken were placed at its base. The dibia chanted ancient incantations, his voice rising and falling like the wind through the leaves. Adana, her voice clear and steady, made her vows. Odum, spirit of the earth, I pledge my life, my heart, and my future to you. Be my husband, my protector, and the breaker of my curse. As she spoke, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the Odum, a sound that seemed to hum with approval. A single luminous firefly danced around her head, a beacon in the moonlit darkness. Life in Umu-Eze continued, but Adanna's life was irrevocably changed. She lived in her family home, but her days were now dedicated to the Odum tree. She tended to its base, watered its roots, and spent hours in silent communion beneath its vast canopy. People no longer mocked her. Instead, a sense of reverence began to grow around her. She was Adanna, Nwanyi Odum. Adanna, the woman of the Odum. Months turned into a year. The seasons cycled. The planting rains came and went. Still, Adanna's womb remained silent. Despair began to creep back into her heart, a cold tendril of doubt. Had she been foolish? Had the voice been merely a figment of her desperate imagination? One morning, as she sat beneath the Odum, a thought, clear as a mountain spring, entered her mind. The voice had said, "The path is not one of men." Perhaps it meant not just a human husband, but human methods. She had been tending to the tree, but what about the life within her? She began to spend her days learning the healing arts from the dibia, delving into the wisdom of herbs, roots, and ancient remedies. She learned to listen to her body, to understand its rhythms. She sought out wise women in neighboring villages, not to lament her barrenness, but to learn of their methods for nurturing life, for strengthening the body from within. She ate the most nourishing foods, prayed to the ancestors, and engaged in gentle exercises that strengthened her core. The next rainy season arrived, and with it a change. One morning, a subtle shift in her body, a feeling she couldn't quite name, stirred in her. A few weeks later, the unmistakable signs appeared. Adanna, the woman who had married a tree, was pregnant. A hush fell over Umu-Eze when the news spread. The impossible had happened. The curse, for generations a suffocating blanket, had been lifted. When her belly grew round and full, the village women gathered, singing songs of joy and wonder. And when Adanna finally birthed a healthy, robust baby girl, the celebrations lasted for days. The child, named Umu-Eze, daughter of the king, or in this context, daughter of the Great Spirit, was the living embodiment of a miracle. Adanna never forgot her vows to the Odum. She raised Umu-Eze, teaching her reverence for nature, for the unseen forces that shaped their world, and for the wisdom that lay beyond human understanding. And so the Odum tree remained, a silent, majestic testament
to the woman who married a tree to break her family's curse, and in doing so, brought forth a new dawn.